What's up, everybody? It has been a minute since we've had a video out, so welcome back to Baxter's Down South Customs. I'm Cage, the Hot Rod Hooligan Barber. And on today's adventures, I'm going to drop off the Bronco, and we might be coming back with something else, so stick around and see what we get into. All right, y'all, before y'all get mad at me for driving, I'm just kind of coasting down the driveway. I'm not on the road yet. Anyway, it has been a while since I have had a video out. The whole month of December, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, training for engineer training for the railroad, becoming an engineer and learn how to drive a train. So that pretty much all month of December. Of course, the very end of it's, you know, Christmas and all that. And then I was sick the first couple weeks of January, in case y'all wondering where we've been. And then life's just been a little busy and a little hectic, so I'm finally getting back out in the shop. I have made progress on the 51, but I said as of right now, I'm going to deliver that Bronco back there behind us. Talk to Dan, check on our Y-block engine for the Mercury, see what kind of cool stuff Dan is building, and yeah, so y'all stick around for this adventure today as we head on over towards Reliance, Tennessee.
I thought we was up by swamp in Florida.
Yeah.
Both of them were. You want me to hold it for you?
No, I don't know why the door decided it wants to shut. All right, I think pretty good about just sitting. There.
Huh?
Push it back a little bit, still on the ramp.
We'll start rolling it back when it's ready. We'll go over and finish the cars.
I gotta get the cable off.
Oh. Or anything out, did you?
No.
Yeah, so it should just take the car, rebuild a carburetor, and should do things up.
Oh, I can help.
Huh? Yeah, I got these. What's that rubbing on?
Tire hitting right fender. There you go, you're good.
That would be good. Let's mark the brake on. Alright. You're gonna work on getting that clear?
Yeah, I'm gonna get the trees and stuff out from around it.
Alright, we'll load it up.
If you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and just back on up.
Yeah, that's why I was getting this back in there. Yeah. Well, I put that 57 Thunderbird on for sale, and goddamn, everybody's trying to buy all the trucks in the background, the cars in the background.
Everything but the Thunderbird, huh?
Yeah. I was like, I put it for $2,500. If somebody will actually make a good offer, it's gone. You need it, Chris.
No, I don't.
It'd be a great project for you. We can put the Mercury, the Lincoln engine in it. Think how cool it would be with a Lincoln engine. I mean, that's a perfect motor for you. It's already clipped. You got a Torino front end under it with disc brakes. When's the last time you saw a custom 57 bird?
This slides right onto the front of the Mustang, bolts where the bumpers does.
Oh, cool.
And this one bolts where the rear bumper goes.
The rear bumper on it?
No, no bumper on it.
Oh.
But the holes are there for.
That's a cool deal.
That's why I come over here and made measurements, make sure these things fit. All that.
Well, I'm gonna get finished what I'm working on. Come get me when you're ready. Your mom's got one.
What?
Your mom's got one if you wanted one of your own.
I do.
Well, give up on your other projects and build a Bronco, because I can promise you it takes everything you're gonna have for the other projects to build that one.
Can I get Mom to put like a Cummins in it?
A 4BT.
That's the only thing it would fit.
Yeah, the 4BTs will fit. You get one with a Ford engine. Yeah, well, I'd be kind of a cool little engine to do.
All right, guys, as y'all seen, we got the Bronco unloaded, and now we'll go check out Dan's engine shop here in a minute. You can see we got a little field of some junk, and most of this is not really savable, but for working on that Bronco, I've done trade work with Dan, and this is what we traded for. And yes, it is rough. A lot of people won't say you shouldn't even deal with it, but it is a 69 Fastback Mustang. And I got some interesting plans for this one. But we're going to, I got to break out the chainsaw, cut some trees, get some stuff out the way. And we're going to try to get this thing out of here today. So let's get to it. All right, got all the trees cut out. Safe to say the floor is pretty rotten in this, considering there was a tree growing right out of the base. So now I'm gonna go up here to my buddy Dan's shop, see if he'll bring that tractor down here for us, pull this thing up out of the ground, and see if we can get her on the trailer. All right, well, as y'all seen, we got this thing loaded. It didn't go exactly as planned. Beforehand, I had built these little frameworks. This one was supposed to bolt here. Everything, I mean, they fit up. Problem is, this is just rotted out through here. There's nothing that would have supported the bolts. Same thing on the back. Especially after him lifting with the tractor. This is all got to be replaced regardless, but where the bumper bolts mounted, you can see it's gone, it's shredded. They were there, but they were so rusty, so they wouldn't have been able to support the weight regardless. So I had those so it'd make it easier to roll it up onto it. But it is what it is. We'll gonna have to get a little creative getting it off. I've got my wheel dollies at the house. We'll just jack it up the best we can, get the wheel dollies on it. It's probably gonna sit on the trailer for a while. We gotta get it cleaned out. And this is nowhere near being, I guess, front of the projects to be worked on. We got a lot of parts to start gathering. I'm gonna try to find original doors and fenders and stuff, but I will buy aftermarket panels. We do have one original quarter that's actually in real good shape, for the most part, and that's the passenger side. We'll probably end up buying a whole new quarter for this side. I've got, when I get back to the house in a little bit, we'll kind of go over more what the plans are for this one. And for you naysayers who say this is too rough, too far gone, check out Peterson Restoration here on YouTube. He has saved cars far worse than this one. Good inspiration. I mean, I'm replacing we will be replacing a lot of panels, but in all, it's still a 69 Fastback Mustang. So anyway, but that's where we're at. So here soon, well, anyways, I'm gonna finish getting things tidied up here, and then we're gonna go up here and check out Dan's shop, and we'll discuss this thing more when I get home. Now I'm gonna walk all the way around Dan's property and show you all of his stuff. This one here somebody's already bought, and like I said, it's also one that's pretty far gone. The guy's he's coming to pick it up because that is an original Ford Talladega, 68. Would have been a 428 Cobra Jet car. And I mean, there's an old Galaxy, there's a Thunderbird, or a Fairlane over there, like what the Thunderbolt would have been. Extended cab F1 Hunt 50, and I mean, there's all sorts of cool stuff sitting around here. But the real cool stuff is up here inside Dan's shop. Dan Cain, for y'all that don't know him, phenomenal engine builder. If you need a Ford FE, 390, 427, 428, something like that built, or a Y-block Ford, 292s, 312s, or even just small block Fords, I'm telling you, phenomenal engine builder. Don't judge him based on the way the shop looks. It's like a little junk out here, I ain't gonna show. But inside, y'all see what I'm talking about. Let's see. Here's Dan's decking machine. And right here in it, that's my Y block. That'll be going into 40 Mercury. It's already decked it. Didn't need a lot. This is Dan's Mach 1. Oop, wrong button. I said Dan's pretty much a one-stop shop. He will have a dyno soon. He's got an engine run stand. Got a 445 on the stand right now, FE. He's got flow benches and all the good little toys. Is he in here? I mean, here's a room that's got all the customers' engines in it. I'll get Dan to tell you all about a lot of these. Most of these are all FEs, a couple of small blocks and a couple of Y blocks. So, see if I can go find Dan. There's the master engine builder himself.
I wouldn't say master.
I could say world class, but we could say third world country. I mean. All right, this is my buddy Dan. I've told y'all plenty about engine builder. Dan Cain, TDC Ford is a
TDC Enterprises.
TDC Enterprises.
Ted and Dan Cain.
Yeah, not top David Center. Anyways, Dan says specializes FEs, Y blocks, and well, Ford in general, but mainly FEs and Y blocks.
FEs and Y blocks. Dad started drag racing in 1947.
Yeah.
Started off with a 32 Ford 5-window. His first hot rod was a Model A with 2 1-barrels and slate shave flywheels. And that's his first engine he built. Was in 48 or 49.
Yeah.
And started racing Y blocks in late 54, early 55. Started racing FEs in 58. So.
Unfortunately, Pops, Ted Cain's no longer with us. Great guy. I've got some video footage of it. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and include it in this video.
Yeah.
Yeah, of him telling stories. Man had more stories than the Bible.
Yeah, he was almost 90 when he went.
Yeah, almost 90. Great guy. God.
Cracking jokes right up to within hours of dying.
Literally, man's what? How many days was it before he died? When he?
No, it was like 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours before he died. He was signing a title to his 57 Thunderbird, which has a 427 in it.
He street raced it in the 60s.
Yeah, he street raced it. You want to tell that what he
Yeah,
did?
so we're sitting there and he's signing the titles. He's giving the titles to all our kids and me. And as he's signing the title of the Thunderbird, my daughter says, "Man, Pop, that's got to hurt your heart to sign it." And he said, "Yeah, man, that's a hard one." And he signed the title, looked at me, dropped the pen, and went, "Ugh." Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm not dead.
4 hours before
4
he
hours
actually
later, he died for real. So he had a motto: "Don't let the little things bother you." And
Yeah.
he included death on that.
Oh yeah, great guy.
But no, we've always built FEs. This room right here is the engine room now.
Yep.
This has been a hot rod shop for about 44 years.
Mainly it was in an in-house hot rod shop.
Yeah, in-house.
Now he's kind of opened it up a little bit.
Yeah, we did stuff for ourselves. So there's stuff stacked everywhere. Papa's a bit of a pack rat, so we've been cleaning as we go.
Yeah.
But originally it was this room. We would build the engines. We'd roll the car outside, build the engine, roll the car back inside, put the engine back in it. Now it's getting kind of more and more dedicated to just as the engine room.
Yep.
And machine shop. I've been real fortunate. Grew up with a lot of the old hot rodders of the area, and over the years, those guys have, as they've closed down or were slowing down, they made offers on the machine equipment, and I've just been really fortunate having some great mentors and great friends in the industry.
Real quick, go back to Ted real quick. Ted, like I said, original drag racer from the 50s, was originally born and raised in Florida.
Florida,
yeah. Friends with Big Daddy, right?
Yeah.
Big Daddy Don Garlits. Him and they're actually personal friends.
My mom's brother, my uncle, and Don Garlits were best friends in high school.
Yeah.
Dad was dating my mom, and they all used to run into each other there at the Corbett house every weekend. And at my uncle's 50th wedding anniversary, Don told a story that my uncle had bought a brand new 54, and they went out, and Uncle Elliot, him and Don took the car and ran over 100 miles an hour out on Gun Highway, North Tampa. Don said, "Man," he said, "that was the fastest I've ever been, and I knew I wanted to go that fast again." He said, "I went down the next week, started building a hot rod."
That's nice.
Him and Dad were in I think it was originally the Hawker's Hot Rod, and that became the Dragoons, and then eventually became the Tampa Bay Timing Association.
Very nice. Now, like I said, Dan specializes mainly in FEs, and he's got, how many's in here right now built?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Plus the one on the run stand?
Plus one on the run stand.
That's a 445.
Yeah,
right?
that's a 445. There's 1, 2, 3 445s in here right now.
Dan's a firm believer right now. 445 is probably one of the better combinations to go overall.
Well, years ago, so the FEs kind of had 3 lifetimes.
Yeah.
Three things. So originally, there were tons of parts, factory-built stuff. It was just a plethora that the factory was throwing out. And into the 80s, that stuff was still out there. Everybody was still grabbing. Everybody was racing with it. Well, I came of age in the late 80s, early 90s in racing. And by that point, all the rare stuff was becoming expensive for restoration.
Yep.
So there wasn't a lot of stuff to build, so we used a lot of junkyard parts, a lot of reclaimed stuff. So the biggest thing back then, we'd take a 390 block, we'd bore it 80, put a 428 crank in there, set a factory, used 428 pistons, but it was a good bore to fit them to, and that's what we ran. Well, if we bored through or they had problems, we didn't care. There was blocks everywhere. Nowadays, well, it gets expensive. So by the time you buy a set of good pistons, modern ring lam, which is really important, to get that smaller ring, lighter weight rotational stuff.
Yeah.
And you recondition the rods, you do all this stuff. You can do a 445 within about $500, $600 what it takes to completely refurbish a 390 block rods and good pistons.
Yeah.
So
And
there's no replacement for displacement, as Bob said.
no. Well, my other local hot rodder, you know him, Randy Flowers, he always told me, he said, the only thing a small block is good for is to get you ready for a big block.
Yeah, it's that's for sure.
But
you know, the FEs have gotten a second life. I think with the kind of the coming of age of the 79 and back Ford trucks.
yeah,
You know, when you and I were kids, it was you get about a 50s. You got a 56 Ford was the truck you wanted with the wrapper.
Oh, yeah.
Shield, you know, but as those aged out, you know, and they're not around very much, and then
now
you
it's
know,
the dent sides and bump sides.
yeah, because that's what the kids remember their grandpas driving.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you and I used to drive as kids. So,
My first truck was a 75 F100. I love that truck.
well, that's where the resurgence of those come.
Yeah.
A lot of them with FEs. And, you know, honestly, I think the last 445 we did with the TFS heads, I had a TFS intake, two 600s from Snake Man right out of the box. I mean, out of his rebuild shop. It's a hydraulic roller cam, short headers, ran it on 93 octane gas. It dynoed 605 horsepower engine systems.
I mean, 605, that's super respectable.
Right,
I mean,
and it's on 93 octane gas. Now, yeah, probably 15,000 in that engine by the time we got it done and dynoed and everything.
yeah,
But if you went out and bought a Coyote,
Yeah.
Coyote transmission, the wiring harness, the mounts, all the stuff it would take to put it in the car, and then brought that Coyote up to 600 horsepower, naturally aspirated, not
Yeah.
slower, well, you're going to be more than what that FE is going to be.
well, I mean, you're right off the bat almost 10 grand if you're buying a crate motor,
Yeah.
and then if you're buying one of those the pulls with all them, you're still 7,
Yeah.
8 easy. I think the cheapest you're getting into those is 4 for higher mileage Coyotes.
Yeah. And they're a great engine.
They are.
Probably the best platform that's ever been built
Yeah.
as far as a boosted engine, and they're great. But, you know, when you're fitting them into something that didn't come in,
Well, it ain't just, well, you like to say you spend all that money on the engine, then there's everything you have to do to adapt it to whatever it's going in.
yeah.
These will go right in on a lot of things.
And there's a bit of nostalgia when you pop the hood. And,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
It's an old FE. Now, not everybody needs 605 horsepower.
No. Now, me and Dan have already been discussing the Mustang we just loaded up. We've already kind of talked engine plans, and we're doing something a little different is what we're thinking. He's got it's a 352 crank, but they're Fords from the old heavy work trucks.
Yeah.
And we're going to do an offset bore grind. I'll let
Offset.
you.
Yeah, we're gonna we'll take one of those. We can offset grind it. That'll bring us out to probably about a 3.9 stroke, about a 428 stroke or something like
Yeah.
that. So you can make a 428 out of it, and it'll be
But it'll be high revving.
high revving, short stroke, high revs.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that we'll drop the diameter of the journal, and that'll allow us to have a slower speed on the bearing speed of the surface as it rotates around, as opposed to a large diameter.
Yeah.
Think of the difference in speed in a 45 record and a 33.
Oh yeah.
if
Hell
you're
yeah.
Our age.
I got you. For you new people, the big 20-inch wheels, they turn faster than the 14, 15.
So, but yeah, no, that's it'd be a good plan. It'd be a little high rever.
Yeah.
You know,
'Cause
we've
we're gonna
also
go-
talked if we
Kind of road race style with that car.
if you got completely sideways on budget and didn't care, we go flat pulling.
Yeah.
But TFS heads would be the main thing there.
Yeah. Good set of heads, intake. And Dan's a dealer for Pro Max. He likes the Pro Max heads real well.
Oh, for the money, hard to beat. You know, we can put you in a set of Pro Max. If you just come in straight out with us and buy them, they're around $1,900. We're right there with Summit or Jegs. If we're doing a project, we're building the engine for you, they're around $1,800. You know, I give you a $100 break if I'm putting your engine together.
So if he's building you an engine, you buy them from him, he can cut you a little break. So, hey.
And for some comparisons, you know, originally the 428 Cobra Jet heads flowed about 240 CFMs. You can take a set of early heads and put the good valves in them, and you'll be at that same The 68 and later heads, they're really down on flow. Those things are 190. You put good valves in them, you'll get about 210. Pro Max heads out of the box are around 279. Then I do a back cut on the valves, and usually that brings them up at about 285. So Edelbrock heads are 254. So it gives you kind of a comparison.
Like I said, if you guys are needing a good FE built or a Y block, we've got one Y block sitting back here. It was originally Dan's, but it was apparently going, now it's his daughter's Y block.
Well, Dad and I was the last one we built.
Yeah.
He told her, he said, he gave her his
The Ranchero.
He said, well, don't leave the 6, get that 3 to 12 we Dan just did. So there went my engine.
Yeah. Pops, talking about a hot rodder again. He had what year was the truck, the green one?
76.
76 with a 427 in it. Which, if you know Ford FEs, 427 is like, it's the magic number. It's the big one. That's what was in the GT40s and, you know, the old Ford Thunderbolts and all that. And now there's the top oilers, side oilers.
Top oilers and side oilers.
Yeah.
That was a top oiler. I've always liked those. They tend to have a little bit thicker cylinder walls.
Yeah.
I'm not running NASCAR and I'm on, so, you know, it's not really a big deal to have the side oiler.
Yeah, and they've got like I said, they've got a
That was a tunnel port engine in that truck.
Oh, yeah, tunnel port
It had
engine.
a set of no number heads on it, instead of actual original team heads that had no part numbers on them.
Oh, nice. He's getting ready to rebuild that engine for that truck, aren't you?
No, that engine's actually going together for my Galaxy.
Oh, okay, he's going into Galaxy. You are redoing it.
Dad and I did it was one of the last little kind of weird projects we did. We figured out that you could take a 302 piston, rebush and downsize a 352 rod, and use a 428 crank. And that gave you a 4-inch bore, a 4-inch stroke, and it gave you a really good truck engine that's got a square bore. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
And then Pops is famous for his Thunderbird. He has a 57 Thunderbird. When you pop the hood, it looks like an old Y block 312, but it's a 427 Genesis block.
Yeah.
One of the first ones, wasn't it?
It was the first iron block.
Yeah, first Genesis iron block.
The first aluminum block sitting there by the mill.
Yeah, that Dan used to hold his trash can still forever.
You got to keep your engine in your kitchen.
Yeah. But, real hot rodders do.
You know, you're talking about the offset grinding. There's not a lot new comes up in hot rodding. It recirculates.
Yeah.
Dad was offset grinding 312 cranks in '59, and they were putting full float flathead bearings.
Yeah.
Offset ground, and the bearing would spin inside the rod and on the crank. So.
That's interesting. I remember him telling me that story once when
he was
working
making
on the house.
339, 340 cubic inch Y blocks at the time.
I wish y'all could have heard all Pops' stories. I'm gonna, like I said, there'll be a few of them here in this video. But unfortunately, when I was recording it, it was an early camera I had and it shut off, so we didn't get all the footage. But you'll still get to hear Pops talk.
So my son works with us down here.
Yeah, Dan's son's getting into it.
So we're running into the third generation of Pops. Well, actually, my great uncle, my grandma's brother, he raced Indian motorcycles back in the 20s.
Oh,
ran
nice.
the gypsy tours and stuff like that. He was a tool and die maker, so he built a lot of race parts for them. So we've raced for over 100 years in the family.
The engine out of the truck, you said it's going in the Galaxy. He's got a 963. 64 Galaxy. He's got another location. It's in it. I had video footage. I'll see if I can still find it of a 55 Ford Fairlane that was the land speed record that Dan had built the engine for.
Engine systems.
Yeah, Hillman Engine Systems. It was a Y block as well. It held the land speed record at Maxton. Last run.
No, not Maxton. It was.
It's East Coast Time Associated.
ECTA.
I thought it was the last run at Maxton.
It was the last run at Maxton, but that didn't set the record at Maxton.
Oh.
We set the record at Wilmington, Ohio.
Okay.
And that actually, the one-way pass was the fastest pass ever for a factory-bodied Y-block naturally aspirated.
Yeah.
It broke Carroll Miller's record this was in 2012, it broke his record from 1959.
What's bad is me and Dan were both at Maxton, and I didn't even know him then. And
But you thought the car was cool.
Oh, I love the car. Like I said, I had video footage of it. And he recently reacquired the car, and then he sold it again.
Yeah, well, you know.
Can't keep them all.
No. So.
But I think that's pretty good. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
Usually just my phone, just call my cell, text my cell, or that's 423-715-4267.
I'll post it. I'll flash it up. So
William McCain online.
William McCain on Facebook. He's not really on Instagram or anything else like that. He's just mainly just old school Facebook.
Old school Facebook. That's crazy to say it's old school.
Oh, yeah, it is. At least you didn't say it was MySpace. I mean,
I had a MySpace.
I did too.
We had one for the old FE club.
Oh, and what you're saying is, Dan, you didn't write the book on FEs. You wrote one of the books.
I published the magazine on FEs.
Yeah, he used to be the publisher for the FE magazine, so so he knows FEs. But anyway,
I don't know everything about FEs, but I know everybody that knows everything about FEs. So
if he's got a question, he knows who to call.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I guess we've taken up enough of his time. He's got more work and more engines to build. So
thanks
anyway,
for stopping by, and I look forward to our project.
Oh yeah, me too. Little view here of some of the stuff that Dan had. Most of these are just junk. He's going to end up scrapping a lot, pulling off what he can. Of course, you can see the Broncos now sitting over there. There's another Mustang. More stuff over there. So, but that was Dan Cain. Like I said, definitely hit him up if you need a Y-block build or a FE. Phenomenal engine builder. He's in, I think this is called Spring City, Tennessee. But I've got his number. Like I said, I'll be posting it in the video. But let's get this Mustang home and find some lunch, man. I'm starving. Now, just go ahead and name and where you from originally.
Huh?
Your name and where you're from.
Ted Cain.
You just look over here. You got to look at
Ted Cain, and I was born in Columbus, Ohio, in Germantown, in fact, and grew up there until I was 16, and then we moved to Florida, and then lived in Florida most of the rest of my life until we moved here to Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And I did all my main drag racing and everything in Florida. I was the day we moved to Florida, I turned 16.
Okay.
And my great uncle had a fishing car, a car that he used to go out fishing in Florida, Tampa.
Yeah.
And I needed it. I went to school. I could ride a school bus, but the school bus didn't come all the way out there where we lived. So Mother talked my old uncle into selling me his fishing car that he used to go fishing with. And so Uncle sold it to me, and it was, I paid him $100 for it, and it was a 32 5-window coupe, Ford coupe,
Yeah.
V8, and it had a chipped tooth in the transmission, and then the neighbor said he'd help me fix it, and it cost me $25 to fix it, so I had a car for school. And then in school...
So your first car is a 32 5-window?
32 5-window coupe, yeah. And the name drag racing and all that hadn't even been started yet.
About what year was it?
This was in 47.
47.
And so by 48, we were hunting parts from a transmission in 47, and the guy that was working on it, he said, "Oh, those guys out in California, there's 32 Fords, they're racing them out there, and you can't hardly find parts for them anymore." Well, what it was, nobody was hardly making any reproduction. It was just what was left on the shelves. Mm-hmm. And anyway, Ernie found me the gears he needed, and from then, and I really didn't have a whole lot of trouble with that transmission after that. But later, Dad, I got him to cut the trunk lid out. He put a little pickup bed in the back of it, and I used to go out to the dairies and get cow manure and bring it in, and I put it in burlap bags and sell it 50 cents a bag, and I mowed lawns, and that's what supported all my...
Can I get you a water or something?
Yeah, if there is any. So I'd go out and get all this manure, and then all my lawn mowing customers would buy it. And in school, this is in Florida, and I'd dump clean out the truck, and I'd park it out there in the park. We had a little bitty parking lot. There was only about 15 of us in school that even had cars. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And we had a little, well, it was kind of a horseshoe shape. The building was here, and around, and they made us park in here. And there was about anywhere from 12 to 15 cars. My buddy he drove a Model T, and I drove a 32. But the sun would bake down on there, and that cow manure I never cleaned out of the truck the night before, and being my last name I'm Ted Cain. Well, kids kidded me about it at school. That's Ted's turd taxi or Cain's crap cart. Oh, the smell would just go. Well, to date a girl, I'd have to wash it out real good and soak it down with pine oil and everything, and but it worked. And in the end of 11th grade, I sold it for $125. I made $25 off my 32, and I bought a 42 Ford, and this was a 6-cylinder flathead, and then I drove that all the way through school. Well, I graduated in 49, spring of 49, and I was a mid-year. Mm-hmm. Well, I got going, at that point I bought a Model A Skeeter from a friend. Skeeter down in Florida and South Georgia was a cut down car. All it was the dashboard and the cowl, and very seldom a hood on it, and no fenders. And then back here we just made a wooden platform and put bucket seats or just anything on it.
Kind of flat.
And yeah, and run out through the woods. And at that time there was no, Florida didn't have a fence law, so it was just, you could go anywhere you wanted through all the woods. There was wild cattle running loose out there, and in fact, in there's a head of one of the wild cows. Their skulls were all over. I don't know how I ended up keeping one, but I did. Well, anyway, I paid $20 for the Model A, and then I decided in 50, by golly, I'm gonna make a hot rod. I'm beginning to hear about hot rods. Well, I didn't want my 6-cylinder 42 Ford wasn't conducive for racing, even though I raced it. I beat a 51 Studebaker V8 with it, but it was on a dirt road, and probably he could have beat me out on a drag strip or something. But anyway, so I went down and I bought the parts for my Model A, and it was bored. I think it was board 40 or something like that. Anyway, it was around 205. They were 200 cubic inches, I think they were. And I put a V8 carburetor on it, and had 40 pounds chopped off of the 60-pound flywheel. Put a V8 pressure plate and clutch in it. And Dad by then had bought a brand new 51 Mercury stick shift. And we could pull up the traffic light, and the light had changed, and my old Model A would just tear that Mercury up coming off of there. Oh, I was so proud of it. And then my boss bought a new 52. I got into tile, bathroom tile, setting tile, and stayed in it for 59 and a half years, and just loved it. Well, it paid for everything from then on. Well, my boss, one of my first bosses, he bought a brand new 52 Ford, and all of us got in a big dispute over how fast that 52 Ford was. And he hired me to put a new set of Fenton heads and two-barrel manifold on it. And the boys were all helpers, and everybody was, let's see if those two cars will run. And we went out, and my Model A beat that brand new 52 Ford, and I was just so proud of that. And even today, I look at a Model A they're pretty good. They're, I mean, considering everything, when you let that clutch out, it jumps. Now it don't go very far. One city block and it's over with. But that city block is really, it's brutal in that time. Well, anyway, by then I bought me a 49 Ford Club Coupe, and it was only 2 years old, 2.5 years old then, and just cherry. And then I really got serious about drag racing, and I still wasn't on. We didn't have drag strips or nothing like that, but we marked off some roads in Tampa. Streets that there was development in Florida back in 1929 and 30 before the Depression, and then just a big collapse came, and there was just roads and roads back out in the woods that were to be developed but never got developed. Well, we could mark these roads off and go out and run, and I just run the heck out of my 49 Ford, and it was a 3-speed overdrive, and fell in love with an overdrive. I never had a Columbia rear end in a 48 back, but which was an overdrive. But I had the regular transmission overdrive in 49 up. Well, anyway, I drove that 49 Ford, and my buddy bought a new 54 Ford glass top, and I dragged against him, and I could pretty well hold my own. He could beat me now and then, but I mean, my old flathead still run good. And I put the 52 Ford heads on it, and raised my compression from my old boss's car, and put a bigger carburetor on it, and I had a 411 ring gear, and with overdrive, and it did good. It run real good. And then well, my buddy got this glass top. We were real close friends, and I was going to get one. We was going to have matching pairs, and he had a spatial paint job. Back then, they were beginning to put real fancy stripes and lines on them. Well, Charlie had a kind of a neat paint job on his. So his parents were pretty wealthy, so his mother bought him his car. Well, mine had to wait until later in the year, where I earned enough money in my tile work, and I was still apprentice and learning. I mean, I hadn't got to be a journeyman yet, so I wasn't making great big bucks or anything. So come October, I got enough money, and I run out to Fort Blaze, and I said, "Here, I got enough money for a down payment. I'm going to use my 49 Ford for the part of the down payment, and I want a 54 Ford." And the guy said, "Well, sorry. We're out of shutdown, and they're not producing them anymore. We're going over to the 55. But don't worry, their 55s are just like the 54s. Well, I ordered a 55, thinking that I was getting something that looked like a 54. Well, while I was making the order, I said, I want a police interceptor. Well, and that would have put a Mercury engine in it, which was a 292 instead of a 272 in the book. The guy in the orders thing, he's okay, he wrote it all down. Well, they ordered it, and thank goodness it came back to me, and they said, we canceled the order because you can't buy a police interceptor. No citizen can buy it, only police can. So the Mercury dealer told us, well, look, if you order that as a sheriff's car, the sheriff department requires their deputies to buy their car, and the department reimburses it for the use of it. So we went down, and when I went in there wasn't any classes for super stock. That hadn't even been invented yet. So I run A stock, and I went out with my new Crown Victoria, and it was only, oh heck, it wasn't a month old, and I had to run A stock, and I won the A stock class. I mean, the Chevrolets just didn't have a chance against 292, and I was there. I mean, these were brand new 55 Chevrolet, brand new 55 Fords. Well, none of them knew that I was running the P didn't mean anything to them, and and I wasn't cheating or anything. I just there was no other class for me to run but A. And I think it was 18.2 was my ET at that time, which is horrible, but yet at that time it won me a trophy.
Yeah.
So that was my first trophy. And then all of a sudden I started getting the hot rod itch, and more drag strips opened up. And then I started really getting deep into fooling with engines. And I put together probably 35, maybe 40 old Y block engines through the years. And my fastest one was a 80,000 spore and a stroke, and it was 330 cubic inches. And I shifted, Chevrolet boys they were at the drive-ins, they'd take theirs, all of us had big Suntacs up on our dashboard, and they'd shove their needles up to 8,500. And man, we shifted 8,500, and us four boys looked there and holy cow, look what they're turning. And we didn't have anything of the kind. And the Chevrolet boys, what they were doing, they were just bull crapping us. I mean, they weren't turning to 8,500, but they thought that, I mean, it fooled us. But what had happened was it forced us into doing something about it. Well, they were saying, oh, we got hollow push rods and you guys got full iron, solid push rods. Well, didn't dawn on us, their push rods were full of oil, so they weren't hollow, they were hollow, but they were full of oil.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden the Ford truck started running actual hollow push rods, and we didn't have oil on our push rods, so all of a sudden we had lighter push rods. And all of a sudden, Harvey Cain, he was Cain Cam Company, he just opened up a business down in Hollandale near Miami, and he come up to Brooksville Drag Strip and he said, I'm building Ford cams. Well, any of you guys interested? I got some cams here. And he offered us cams with the deal that we'd use them and then report to him what we thought of them. Well, most of us were using Isky E2 and E3 cams, and mine was an Isky E2, and I was turning 8,500 just like the Chevrolet boys were, or we thought they were. Well, we could pull up to the starting line and rev our engines, and you'd scream the engine, and these guys would get all shook up over the RPM, and they'd rev it up, and I'll bet you I've seen 8 or 10 Chevrolet engines blow right on the starting line, just completely puke everything out the bottom, getting revved up, and thinking, you get them jazzed up like that. Well, anyway, I picked on Corvettes. I mean, if I could beat a Corvette, I'd beat the queen of the pack. Well, I can honest to God say I run every Corvette I ever run across. I begged them to run, to get them to run, and I run them and beat them with my 55 Crown Victoria. Never, ever did I get beat by a Corvette on the drag strip. And anyway, Cain had come in and that last cam you gave us, it wouldn't turn up high or this or that. So Cain kept on, and we finally come up with a really neat cam. By 57, Cain was really making some good camshafts. And I kind of put aside my Isky cams, me too, and the others, and I started running Cain cams. And then what I'd do, I'd get my engine, get one running, and I'd get out on the drag strip and I'd win. And the trouble was they put me in C gas because I was running 2 fours, and in the meantime, Ford was tricked into the Auto Manufacturers Association. It was a car club formed by the auto manufacturers, and Ford was beating General Motors so bad, like in NASCAR, on the NASCAR races, they'd out of 23 races for the year out of Daytona and those big racetracks, Ford was taking 18 of them. If you look back in the records, I got them there. It's a list of them. Mm-hmm. In '56, Ford won 18 of the 23. The other 5 was left up to Chevrolet, Dodge, and Plymouth, and maybe Pontiac. Well, anyway, Ford was just stomping them. And then in '57, Chevrolet come out with their fuel injection, and Ford come out with a supercharger and just run over the top of them again. Well, the AMA said the head of the AMA was a guy by the name of Cole, who was president of General Motors and vice president of NASCAR. So he said, oh, the government's going to curtail racing and we're going to be have government controls in us. We need to stop racing. And they all agreed to quit putting racing stuff out. Well, Ford had 15 of these supercharged engines. And I was at Daytona in '57. I watched them. The first lap down the beach and around, when these supercharged Fords, there was 2 of them, they came to the end, and at the beach what they did was they bulldozers and plow up the sand, and the cars would make a turn and go back onto Highway 1 and run south. And then they'd hit another pile of sand down there, and they'd make their turn and go on the beach and come up. Well, when they made their first lap, they already were a full lap ahead of the whole pack. That's how fast those supercharged Fords were. And at this end, as they come down the beach, when they tried to make that turn, they were screaming through there and went right over the top of that sand berm and right on down, upside down, and wrecked. Both supercharged Fords. So this just left the 280 horsepower naturally aspirated. Well, Ford, when General Motors seen that they were just getting whipped from one end to the other, they said, okay, we got to curtail this. Well, Ford bowed down. First time Ford ever joined an organization, auto organization, and Henry II, I don't know why, but he joined it. So they said, okay, this is it, and cut it down. And there was 15 of those engines that were no longer available. I mean, usable. Well, the dealership called me up. Hey, we got one of the Daytona Ford engines. You want one? And how much you want for it? $400 for a complete 312 supercharged engine with, and that was an Isky E3 in that. And from Isky was producing those cams for Ford, and so I bought it and took the supercharger off of that because my engine already was 330 cubic inches, and I put that blower on my engine. And now, instead of turning at 6,500 like Ford said, I was turning 8,500, so I was really getting some blowing pressure. And I was immediately in C gas. Well, I was top C gas car in Central Florida. There was one Chevrolet guy by the name of Brassfield. Brassfield could beat me with a '56 Chevrolet. I don't know what he had. He did have M&H Race Masters, and I was too stubborn to put them on mine, and I wished I had them. But I didn't do it. And I had a 3-speed, and he was running a 4-speed. We didn't have 4-speeds yet in Fords. So, but I still, with what I had, I could still beat Brassfield off and on. We were both right at 14 seconds in the quarter mile. And I run 14, 14.1 at 100, 101. And in the meantime, Ford come out with a brand new engine, which was the FE engine, and Ford, on one of the magazines, one of the engineers commented, you know, what a shame, look at this engine. We built an engine that could really, really run, and look what they made us do. The '58 Ford 332 and 352, Ford put 2 head gaskets on it to kill the compression, to get it down and make it compatible so the government wouldn't get them. And General Motors, and the camshaft in the thing, I wouldn't have put it in my old Model A. And the spark curve was horrible, and the ROY blocks would tear one of those.
That's what I'm going to get you to go back a little bit to when you first started modifying your Y block, because you said you got up to 300 something cubic inch. You started off with a 292.
Oh, okay. Well, what I did, I was kind of on my own. Now, there was only, in our class, there'd be 16 cars, and there'd be maybe 2 Fords and 14, or maybe there was 3 Fords, there'd be 14 or 16 Chevrolets. Well, first of all, I refused to race against a Ford. I'd act like my car wasn't running. And because I didn't want to, if him and I run together, one of us would eliminate each other, and then there would only be 2 Fords or 1 Ford. So I stood back, and I just picked on Chevrolets. Well, So because of this, I constantly was, I'd have to be running all the fast Chevrolets or they thought were fast, and the ones that just got in the way. And at the end of the Sunday, somebody'd want to buy my engine invariably. Well, what I'd done, most of the boys weren't this deep into Ford engines. I mean, everything was Chevrolet and oh boy this and oh boy that. And I helped all the Ford guys I could, showed them and did what I could. But what I did was, first of all, I found out that when Ford went from a 292 to a 312, they took the block, and the 312 crank was a bigger main bearing, and they bored out the crank bore to put this crank in. Well, now it made the web around it. They cracked, and if you run a 312 after 2 or 3 months of running, you'd end up with a cracked web somewhere in there. And so what I had an idea and did was I took a 312 crank, had the main bearing cut down to a 292, and put that into a 292 block. Now I had a big stiff web in there, and strong, and I never had any web trouble. Then what I did was, again, I was on my own. I had a machine shop to do anything I wanted. And I went in and I told them, hey, I got an idea. I want to take an old flathead Ford. I want to take the full floating bearings that Flathead used, and I want to put them into my Y block. And the guy, he kind of raised his eyebrows and he said, well, let me do some measuring. So they had to cut the crankshaft down in diameter to meet the diameter of the flathead. And I said, okay, offset grind that to give me a longer stroke. And while he was at it, then they had to cut my, I think my rods were cut out something like 60 thousandths bigger. Well, now with full floating bearings in there, those bearings just spun in any direction they wanted to. You never spun a bearing, you never had oil problems, ever. And you could turn that engine any RPM you wanted, and it just wasn't any problem. And so if you bored a 312 or a 292 and you took it out, say 60 thousandths, you got a 222 cubic inch. And if you went to a 80 thousandths bore, you came to a 224 cubic inch. Well, with my extra offset grind on the crank, it took me up to 330 cubic inch, 330.1, I think. Well, at this point in '57, the Chevrolet was going to be coming out with a 327 in the next year. Well, the Chevrolet boys were already beginning to make 327s. Well, I was already at 330 cubic inch while they were trying to get their poor engines up to 327. Well, then I didn't even worry about RPMs. I mean, 8,500. I shifted it. I'd run 15, 20 times on a Sunday in the drag races, and 8,500 3 times, you know, low second and third down the strip, well, low and second, and just never ever had any trouble. And our engines, at the end of 2 years, we'd pull them down and maybe put new bearings in them or something, just because the heck of it. Whereas the Chevrolet boys, they were replacing their engines once and twice a year even. And so I'd race, and then somebody'd come along and say, hey, would you sell your engine? So yeah, I'll exchange it. Whatever you got in your car, I'll sell it to you plus your engine. And so now I'd get $2,000 or $1,500, and I took they come up with their engine, and I gave them my engine.
Well, guys, we made her home. Got the trailer parked. She's sitting where she's going to be sitting for a while now. Pretty much going to leave her on the trailer till I have to take it off. But from here, we'll be able to go around, figure out what panels we need, like back of this shock tower. Actually, even the lower shock towers, which usually don't rust, is rotted out. But the front, both aprons are actually in good shape. When I need anyways, regardless, with it sitting here, I can go around. We'll start kind of getting it slowly cleaned out. We can assess what parts we need. Now I told you I'll tell you all the plans for this, which kind of mentioned a little bit there talking to Dan. We're kind of going road race inspired. Street version of a road race car, I guess you would say. Going to get a 9-inch Ford in the back. We're probably going to put the mini tubs in it, 2-inch mini tubs. That way we can get wider tires. I'm thinking torque, that TCI torque link style rear suspension setup. TCI coilover front suspension. Might probably get a full cage. Like I said, it's going to get that 390, probably a T56 6-speed. So there's going to be some money tied up in this one. But I'm not worried about restoring this thing back to the original. As you can see, it's not a good candidate for an original restoration. So, of course, we know we need floors. Where Dan had lifted this thing up with a tractor, we're going to have to, I'm going to need new rear braces, which they were rotten anyways, but you can see that one sticking up there. There's the edge of this one sticking up, ripped through. So, but hey, we got a good back glass. But I want to start, get on Marketplace, and we're going to start collecting parts. So try to find original parts where I can, original style doors, original doors, deck lid, fenders, whatever we have to buy aftermarket, we will. But this is a kind of a long-term project. This is a project for later on. I ain't gonna say long-term, but it's not a priority right now. Right now, it's more of the parts collecting aspect of it. So that's where we're at. Anyways, I appreciate y'all tagging along, and thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Later.